Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I came into the shop today. It's a Saturday. I'm just gonna do my normal thing, have some work to do, and I was pretty much floored by a bombshell report that I read that just came out January 17th. Now, it is a NHTSA report that is basically saying that GM is under preliminary investigation for engine failures on their L87 engine. For those of you that aren't aware, the L87 engine is the GM 6.2 liter V8 that they feature in every full-size truck normally, from the Tahoe, Suburban to the Sierra, the Silverado, Yukon, Escalade. I mean, pretty much those big class of trucks, either the work trucks or the family SUVs. And it has finally caught up with GM. Now, it's not an unknown thing that GM has had a lot of issues since the introduction of AFM in, I want to say like 2007, 2006, somewhere around there when it came out. And it's been nothing but a pain. And this is finally justice served. It's taken a while, but the NHTSA only started investigating them because they are having failures on the road, which is a safety item. And that's what the NHTSA basically gets involved in, is anything that can cause harm or any sort of situation on the roadway. And it's a safety thing, so that's why they're finally getting involved in this. They've had enough reports. Now, the number that has came in is like 877,000 reports of people having failures on model year 2019 to 2024 L87 engines on their vehicles. And what basically happens on these, for those of you that aren't aware, is that they're equipped with either AFM or DFM. I believe on these newer trucks it's called DFM. And what basically happens is it's a cylinder deactivation. It's supposed to cut off cylinders, save you fuel. Doesn't really do that great. Honestly, the numbers are so small, it's not even worth putting it on the car. It costs more to put it on the car than the fuel savings that you'll get, because it's like point something. It's real stupid. But anyway, this is where we're headed with government mandates and EPA fuel economy numbers. Manufacturers are putting this sort of crap in engines. But basically, when DFM is installed on your engine, there's lifters. They tend to fail. They will collapse. They won't come back open. When the lifter fails, you basically get oil consumption in that cylinder. When the oil consumption happens, you could be driving down the road not knowing it, and basically you'll seize your rod bearings, and it'll cause your engine to stall out, and that could potentially cause you to crash or do something that you didn't really want to happen. And that is the whole reason why the NHTSA is now involved in this, because it is a safety concern on the road. GM has finally outdid themselves and done it just right, to the fact where it's catching on to the big government agencies to figure out what's going on, because these things are failing on the public roads. Let's say you're cruising 80 miles an hour in your brand new Escalade, which is at this point probably a $200,000 truck if you get the highest trim. And your engine just stalls on you at 80 miles an hour without any sort of sign or anything, and you basically wind up getting into a situation where it could be life-threatening. And that's why they finally got some agency on their butts. And I'll be honest with you, I'm happy about this, because GM has been making this crap for way too long, and I hope that they find them at fault and they issue massive recalls, and then this will set a course to change GM's mind on using these stupid systems in their trucks, all for the sake of like 0.5 or 1 mile a gallon, which, I'll be honest with you, GM, if I'm buying a big V8 truck that weighs over 6,000 pounds with a V8, I don't think fuel economy is going to be my concern. I know what I'm buying. People don't just stumble or get pressured into buying these things. They're buying it because they know what they're dealing with. Let us have it the way we want it. Ever since this AFM DFM had been introduced in GM products, you can always go online and on the forums, and you'll always see people complaining. Recently, I've been watching this topic pretty closely, and I'll share my experience on why in a few minutes here. But basically, everyone is reporting that their engines are failing, 4,000 miles, 5,000 miles, 10, 15, 20, basically very early failure rates. And it's all due to the bearings failing on these L87 engines. And like I explained earlier, it's pretty much oil consumption in my book, the way I would reason it. If those lifters fail and they're getting stuck and the cylinders eating up oil and consuming it, you're not gonna have that much oil left in your bottom end, and that's gonna cause your bearings on your crankshaft to basically go, or your rod bearings to go. It's a very common thing, and it doesn't take a professor to figure this stuff out. Like I said, GM has been doing this for a while. I want to say 2007 was the first introduction of AFM, and up to now, it's only been an issue where if the system fails, it winds up burning oil or it makes a knocking noise, and yeah, it could take out an engine, but they really weren't failing on the roadways. People were pretty much catching it before, or it never had a failure where the truck would just die on you unless it was very severe on the road. That's why up to now, it's never really been a red flag for the NHTSA, because they only really care about the whole safety aspect of the public, and they never saw that as a safety thing when these things were just knocking around town, chewing lifters, and breaking themselves, but not causing accidents. And now, obviously that's not the case. That's why they're involved. So it's finally a good thing. Now, I have two personal experiences with this. First one is me. I love GM. GM, in my book, and a lot of you may disagree, they make a really beautiful truck. I love the way their trucks look. I love the features that their trucks have. And to be honest with you, I would have had a brand new Chevy Suburban in my driveway as of last year if Chevy didn't make these products as bad as they're doing them now. I feel that they make a solid truck as long as they get rid of the AFM, DFM out of their engines, and maybe they fix up their transmissions a little bit, because they are having a couple issues with those. But either way, they can really do a lot better. And I feel if they corrected these two issues with the AFM and the engines and just kind of sturdied up the transmissions, they would capitalize and dominate the market, because there's a lot of people out there that want these V8 trucks, and I'll be honest with you, they're beautiful. I love them. They have every single feature that you could want. About a year ago or so ago, I went to a GM dealership. I was looking at a new truck for the family. I just figured I would buy one brand new truck and ride it for 20 years, maybe 200,000-300,000 miles, and it'll be the family vehicle where we just get in it, throw all our stuff, and go wherever we'd like to, and worry free without any issues in my head. And I recall the earlier GM platforms. I mean, GM's been building V8s for 60 plus years now. The engine hasn't changed. It's the same engine basically, just with all these stupid add-on technologies, if you want to call it that. And I've seen these trucks go 300, 400,000 miles. Heck, I have a plow truck out there that still has a Chevy 5.7 liter, and that thing has around 375,000 miles, and I kid you not, it'll start in negative weather. I'll go out there right now after letting it sit for a month and crank it up, and it'll turn on and it'll run, and it's happy to do so, and it does its job. So we have come a long way from making reliable engines like that to this crap that they're doing now. Even as of recently, before the Ecotec V8s came out, they have their regular V8s, the 5.3 and the 6.0s, that make it to like 500,000 miles, if not more, with the proper maintenance. I mean, come on, GM. You guys really dropped the ball on this. I have not seen many newer GM engines that make it past 200,000 miles with these AFM, DFM lifter failures, because simply, they can't. It's going to fail at some point. There's two classes of GM owners when it comes to this. It's the people that have experienced a failure and people that are still waiting for it to happen to them, in my book. And it's just one of those things. Now, the second part of this is about a couple months ago, my brother-in-law was also looking for a GM truck, a Chevy Tahoe in particular, and I told him, don't buy it, they're gonna have issues. And sure enough, I want to say a couple months after they owned it and they bought it, it came into my shop and it was making the ticking noise. I told them, hey, you got to take it to Chevy, you have a warranty, and basically new engine. It wound up spinning the bearings and the engine, and it needs a new engine, and that's already been done. But from all those situations, me being a hardcore GM guy, I went and bought a Ford. And what's that going to say to everyone? That the GM guy is driving a Ford because it's more reliable. And I know there's Ford and Chevy guys. I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm just a Chevy person. I never thought I would say a Ford is reliable, but to be honest with you, it's reliable. And that's pretty much it, guys. Just don't want to take up too much of your time. This got dropped on January 17th. It's now the 18th. And I just thought I would share my 2 cents on this. So NHTSA, go ahead and nail GM on the board, because they need to pay and they need to learn to get rid of these systems in their engines. So with that said, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Comment, like, and subscribe because it helps the channel grow. With that said, I'll catch you guys on the next video.